Hello and welcome back to SketchUp Assist. In this video, we're going to put together this little shed structure. And in doing so, we're going to show you a few tips that will help you when designing your framing in SketchUp. So stick around. Okay, the first thing we need to do is lay down our base plate. And I'm going to show you a couple of methods to do this. We're going to use Follow Me and we're going to use the Offset tool. So let's get started. Okay, so I'm going to start off here by creating my profile. This is going to be a 2x4 profile. The first thing I want to do is get the orientation right. Now you can see it's in the plane of the floor. That's not what I want. I want it to be perpendicular to the plane of the floor. Hitting the left arrow key, in my case, pops that up. And then I need to enter in the dimensions, 3.5 comma 1.5. And that gives me my 2x4 profile. I'm going to go ahead and come in and make this a group. And notice I just made the profile a group. I'm going to select the profile. And now what I want to do is create a path for it to follow. I'm just going to go into rectangle mode and draw a rectangle around the footprint. I'm going to double click into this and deselect the surface. The reason I'm doing this is I want to select the path. So this exterior edge is going to be my path. That path is part of the group because I'm going to edit the group effectively. So now I have my path selected. I'm going to come in to the tools drop down, select that, and then you can see as I hover over it, over the profile, it becomes active, and then I'll click on that, and now we've created our base plate profile, or traced our base plate profile around to create the base plate for our wall. Okay. If we rotate around here, you can see we have a standard 2x4 base plate. Now, if you want to, you can come in and put break lines in this so that it better represents an actual framing. But for the sake of this video, we're going to leave this as is. Okay. And now we're going to look at another option for creating that. So let's look at using the offset function. So let's get rid of everything in here. Okay, so we have a group here. What we want to do is come in. Don't want to create a new group for my base plate. So I'm going to come in and overlay that. What I can do is come in and hide that group temporarily, the original group for the floor plan. With my offset tool, and I'm going to come in 3.5. I can get rid of that. Let me double click on this. I'm going to go ahead and make it a group. And then I can double click in here and do push pull and pull that up 1.5 inches. And now I can come over and put my floor back in. So there's two ways that you can come in and create the base plate. Depending on the complexity, the second methodology may not be very helpful. It's helpful if you have just sort of square or rectangular spaces. If you have more complicated spaces, the follow me approach is going to be a bit easier. So now that we have our base plate, let's look at how we can put some framing up. So putting in studs in here. And the way I generally do this is I will come in on top of my base plate and I will pull a rectangle. And again, as usual, I don't try to get the dimensions just right. I just get it approximately where I want it. Now in this case, I want the 2x4 stud. It's the same width as the base plate, so I definitely want that dimension to match. And if you look in the lower right-hand corner, you'll see that that's 3.5 inches. So I actually don't want to touch that dimension. So in SketchUp, what I can do is come in and just hit the comma and then 1.5, and that will give me the width of my stud. And so if I come in and pull these dimensions now, you'll see that's 1.5 by 3.5. And then what I want to do is go ahead and come in and make this a component. And I'm going to call this a 2x4 framing stud. Okay. Now, I can go ahead and generally what I'll do is just pull up about 12 inches, just enough so that I can kind of tell what I'm working with. I won't pull it up to the full height. I can wait and do that. And the nice thing is with this being a component, I can set all of these and then come back in and later adjust the final height. So what I can also do is come in and I can decide how I want to do this framing. And so depending on exactly how you want things to land, we might want to start the framing from this corner. And we just go into move mode. And what you want to do is grab this and make sure you're not grabbing the rotate. You'll grab it, and let's just go back one more time and take a look at this. So you'll notice depending on where you selected, a compass can pop up. So you want to make sure you grab it where that doesn't happen. Grab that component, start dragging it. Hit the Option key. On a Mac, Control on a PC. And you want to drag this over, and we're going to do 16-inch centers. And so before we touch anything else, I'm going to zoom out. So I haven't touched any other keys, and I don't want to touch them yet. What I want to do is now replicate those. And so after entering the 16, I'm going to go times 10. And notice I'm not sure how many I need here, and I'm not really that worried about it, because I can always alternate what I need by just coming in and saying, okay, it looks like I might need 8, right? If I wanted to try 15, I can simply keep experimenting with whatever I want until I've gotten the number I want and I want to lock it in. Okay, so 8's going to be good for me. And you say, well, there's one that's passed. That's fine. I'll show you what to do with that. So now that those are in, I can come in and simply grab this and pull it over. And I can zoom in here to see that it's there. Okay. Now then generally what I do is I will then simply come in, change the orientation, and then I'm going to grab one of these, pull it. I want to make sure I'm not in rotate mode. So there I got into rotate mode. Sometimes you got to kind of zoom in. I'm going to make one copy this time. So I'm going to hit my Option key, and I'm going to slide this over. And now I do want to go rotate. And so notice when I hover over those red crosses, wherever it may be, when you hover over those red crosses, it grabs an axis to rotate there. So this is the one I want. I want to rotate this around. And you can, of course, type that angle in if you want. And then I'm going to slide this down. Now, I'm placing these 2x4s here. If you're actually designing something, you want to think through some things. So, for example, if you're going to do something like this, if this room's potentially going to be insulated and you're designing a real room, you want to make sure that you can get insulation in this corner. So you may or may not want to do this exact layout. So keep in mind, we're just looking at the functionality of SketchUp and not the actual details of how to lay out framing. And then what I can do is come in, grab this, start dragging it. Once again, hit the Option on a Mac, Control on a PC, and I'm going to drag this over 16 inches. And then I can do the same thing. I'm going to try 7 this time. And it looks like I need 8 because I want to go to the end. So I'm going to do 8. There we go. And so now I can come in here. I'll grab this last one and just drag it back into place there. Okay. Now, an option that you can take if you don't want to do the rotation and do all that stuff again is that you can either grab one of these and drag it over, or you could potentially grab all of these. And so what I'm going to do is grab all of these. I'm going to swing around here, and I'm going to move these across. I'm going to hit the Option key, and I'm not quite going to get them perfect because I want to zoom in here so I can then make sure I lock it in there. Okay. And then likewise, we could do that with that back wall. Or as we said, another option is just to grab one of these, hit the Option key, come in, let's pull that tight, hit the Option key, we're going to move 16 And then we'll go times 7 to see how that looks. Maybe times 6 is good enough. And then what we'll do is come in. Looks like we needed one more here. Let's just grab this one at this, zoom in here a little bit so we can get the corner and lock that in. All right. So now you can come in and easily clean up your corners to accommodate whatever you need. Again, depending on what you're doing, you may want to give some thought. Depending on your local code, may require double studs in the corners. So once you have this layout, though, it's pretty easy to fix those things. And now you can simply come in, select one of these. Originally, we made it 12 inches. So if we wanted to bring the entire height up to, say, 8 feet off of the top of the top plate, we could just type in a 7, and that's going to bring us up to 8 feet. Okay, now once the studs are up, if we want to install the top plate, that can be pretty easy. We can take advantage of the base plate that's here. Now I'm going to hit the up arrow key because I want this to pull straight up. So I'm going to, oops, I don't want to do that. I'm going to lock in so you can see it's locked in on blue. And I'm going to start dragging this up. I'm going to hit the control key. And I'm going to come in here. It looks like I should be locked in good. And if I need a double top plate, then that's easy enough. I can simply come in one more time. I'm going to grab the bottom there, hit the up arrow key. I'm going to start sliding it, hit my copy key, and then tuck it in there. So there we go. We've framed out this structure. Now, right now, there's no way to get in here. And so what I generally do if I wanted to put a little door on this is I would simply come in here and I would kind of figure out where I want to put my door. And let's say we want to put a door, let's say 2 feet off of this wall. Let's say maybe 18 inches. So let's go 18 inches. Let's just scribe a line here to preserve. And then I don't know which one of these is load bearing, so I'm going to assume this is a load bearing wall. And so I want to come in and put a jack and king stud in here. So what I would typically do is I would just borrow from this, and I'm going to slide this back here. And just stick with me for a second. You'll see what I'm doing. So if that's where my door opening is supposed to start, then I'm going to make a copy of this. And I'm going to slide this back, and I'm going to hit the copy key. Again, that's the option on a Mac. Okay, now I've doubled up that stud. I'm going to leave that there for now. And then I want to come in here and let's say I want to put a 36-inch rough opening. So I'm going to type 36. Again, I'm going to come over and scribe my line. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I'm going to grab this stud, move it back here. I don't need to make a copy in that case. But then I'm going to immediately make a second copy here. Okay. And then I'm going to get rid of this because I don't need it. All right. Now, for my jack studs, what I want to do is actually, I want to edit them. But notice if I try to edit, let's hide this top plate. Okay, let's come in here. Let's see, I want to edit this jack stud because I want to drop it down so that I can put a header across the top of it. Obviously, if I go to adjust it, it's going to adjust everything because those are components. What I need to do is click into this. Don't double click, so let's just step out one more time so you can make sure you see what's happening. Let's get rid of our guides too. Okay, I want to click just so that it highlights, and I want to make unique. Okay. And actually, I did something here I didn't necessarily want to do. I want to get rid of this one because I'm going to copy this one over. And let's say I want to put a 12-inch header here. I'm going to come in, and the dimensions of 12-inch lumber are 11 1/4. So I'm going to drop this down to 11.25. Okay. And now I can come in grab this one in the move mode, grab it. I'm gonna make a copy of it and pull it over there. Okay. And now on my base plate, this is a group, so I don't have to worry about what happens if I edit this one. It's not going to hurt my top plate. But I do need to come in and put my 2 score lines in my actual group. Now that I have that, I can push this through. Yeah, we can get rid of that. Okay. All right. And if we come back in and unhide our frame. Now, this framing, generally speaking, depending on your door height, you may want to drop the header down and frame above it. For the sake of this, we're just going to put a header directly under the top plate. And then you could come in and frame your door out depending on what you need. What I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to just draw this. This is generally composed of 2 pieces of dimensional lumber and then a piece of plywood or something in the center. I'm not going to fret over those details right now. So we're just going to make this a group, come in and pull that header up. And you can see in the lower right corner, 11 1/4, that's exactly what we want. And so there we go. So that's it. Those are some tips to come in and kind of quickly frame. This is all more or less real time, so you can see the amount of time required to pull together detailed framing for a small structure like this. Obviously, the bigger, more complex takes a little longer, but those tips that we discussed here would come in handy regardless of the complexity. So that's it for this video. Hopefully you found it useful, and good luck. Hey, if you're finding the channel useful or interesting, please consider subscribing. And if you have any feedback for any of our content, please consider leaving comments. Thank you.